During the signing ceremony for the Laken Riley Act, Trump also announced that he's ordering a huge detention facility to be constructed at Guantanamo Bay. If this feels ominous to you, you are not alone. The plan links Trump's campaign against immigrants to the state crimes of the so-called War on Terror. My mind immediately jumped to Guantanamo's use as a prison, holding people, torturing them in many cases, in indefinite detention with no opportunity for due process, some of whom were determined to be innocent of any charges after sometimes years of detention. It also, of course, calls to mind the creation of concentration camps for Japanese Americans during World War II, when the federal government used military resources to round up and detain tens of thousands of civilians for the supposed threat of their ancestry. And I've got to ask at this juncture, where are the Democrats on this? Between this and this week's short-lived Office of Management and Budget freeze of all federal funding, this should be a kick in the ass. It's time that they start behaving like a real opposition party.
My grandson lost his first tooth. It's a very big occasion.
And in the absence of that, I guess it's just time for us to get better organized. Also, nearly 2 million federal employees received an email earlier this week containing a deferred resignation offer promising to pay their full salary and benefits through the end of September if they simply respond to the email with the word resign by February 6th. It pains me to feel like I have to say this, but if you or anyone you know received this email, which sounds like a pretty sweet deal, it literally suggests that employees could use the time to, quote, take a nice vacation. I just want to remind you, consider the source. There's no congressionally approved budget to pay people to not work for months at a time, and this is an offer from Donald Trump, who built his career by refusing to pay real estate contractors time and time again, and Elon Musk, who made the exact same promise to Twitter employees, who never saw a dime and were eventually fired anyway for, quote, cause. This isn't the only missive from OPM that's come out in the last 2 weeks. 404 Media has a great story this week about how several of these orders still had document metadata exposing their original authors. Those authors? Previously employed by the Heritage Foundation, the architects of Project 2025. Trump tried to distance himself from Heritage on the campaign trail.
I have nothing to do with Project 2025.
But it turns out you can't fool Reddit. And just yesterday, the new chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, Brendan Carr, decided it's time to try and defund the greatest woke communist threat to our nation, Daniel Tiger. He's requested an investigation into PBS and NPR, claiming they're operating as for-profit entities while receiving federal funding by announcing their financial sponsors on air. It should come as no surprise that this attack on nominally publicly funded media is part of their blitz to dismantle any remaining checks and balances to their authoritarian plans. This is a politically partisan, bad faith maneuver intended to shut down a free press and anything that seems like dissent.